Sure.
Welcome, comrades! I'm Red McCano, Senior Executive Vice Senior President of Shadowloo's Department of Treasury.
I'm Melody Sinclair, and you're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio and broadcasting across the realms.
A quick disclaimer before we begin. How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio is in no way brought to you or funded by the Saudi Arabian Misk Foundation, but it is partially funded by the Shadowloo government, so, pick which human rights violations you're willing to tolerate for the duration of this broadcast.
I wish you had run that disclaimer by us during any of the 3 production meetings you skipped this week. However, yes, How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio is partially funded by the government that attempted to steal the Statue of Liberty over the weekend.
Allegedly. Officially, it was a naval exercise that ended up 11,000 miles off course. Besides, yous aren't using it.
It was on Memorial Day, Red.
Well, if we were going to steal the Statue of Liberty, we wouldn't do it on, National Hamburger Day. I can't keep track of what holidays are real or not. Besides, Guile and company arrived and cleared up the whole misunderstanding. It's good. We're all good. Everything's fine. You know what's not fine, though? The current exchange rate of USD to Bison dollars.
It's down again?
0.147, a recent all-time low. Just like that band, all-time low.
It could just be basement noise, but I heard it's set to drop even lower than that.
I don't know where you've heard that from. That's pretty safe for now, barring some kind of disaster. Trouble is, the monster's in charge.
Since the early January gloom, America's economic situation hasn't improved. It's like everyone's sleeping in when there's work to be done. Do you see things improving?
Sleeping in is a good way to put it, because the economy needs a serious wake-up sunshine moment in the wake of all this tariff nonsense and the instability that's followed. Going into summer days, I believe the boom to tourism will help, but the way the American government has been handling tourists and foreign workers thus far is clumsy at best and pretty venomous at worst.
It sounds like a melancholy kaleidoscope of glitter and crimson, no matter how you look at it. It's not my favorite place to be. Get away, Green.
What?
Global exchange rates.
Well, we've already gone over USD to Bison dollars, so the rest. Great Britain pounds, 0.198. The Japanese yen, 0.001. The Bahamian dollar, 0.149. The Canadian dollar, 0.106. The euro, 0.168. The Australian dollar, 0.096. The gold combat coin, 0.733. And the East Caribbean dollar, 0.055.
Coming up next, 2 American tourists' disastrous entry into Shadowloo has sparked an international incident. We'll have Dr. Kine from the Shadowloo Health Council to discuss what happened and what will happen.
Before that, though, we're gonna hit you with a music break. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. This is Neapolitan Blues from King of Fighters 94. Welcome back, comrades. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. That was Neapolitan Blues from King of Fighters 94. I'm Red McCano, Senior Executive Vice Senior President of Shadaloo's Department of Treasury.
I'm Melody Sinclair. Early last week, 2 U.S. tourists, Zach and Dana Ingram, stepped off a plane to make their way through Shadaloo Customs. They claimed they were herded by security into a holding cell where they were given an ultimatum: accept a series of vaccines from on-site personnel or face criminal charges, deportation, and a permanent travel ban. The story gained traction over the Memorial Day weekend, leading to debate over Shadaloo's strict travel policies and stance on vaccines.
I just wanted to interject to say that the only place debating Shadaloo's strict stance on vaccines is America, a country with active measles cases that have resulted in several entirely preventable deaths.
For more on this story, we turn to the second chair of Shadaloo's Health Council, Dr. Lazarus Kind.
Thank you. And I appreciate you using my full title and introduction, Melody. The last couple of weeks I've had to suffer through the two of you omitting the doctor from my name. Melody I can understand, but you, Red, even if you're overseas, you still have a chain of command to follow.
Most sincere apologies, Dr. Kind. I'll try my best.
Bureaucrats. Anyway, the tourists. It's not unusual for countries to require certain vaccinations for travel. Shadaloo is no different. Where we differ from most other countries is that inbound travelers may waive the requirement for pre-travel vaccination with a commitment to accept ours upon entering the country.
You'll administer your own required vaccines at customs?
Exactly. Free of charge even. Small price to ensure the protection of our nation's health. The Ingrams either seemed to forget their commitment or thought they could simply slip past. The reports indicate they grew hostile even when confronted by customs agents. And that's when security was called.
And the accusations that on-site medical personnel subjected the Ingrams to forced vaccination.
In all their media appearances, the tourists failed to mention the consent forms they signed, waiving their pre-travel vaccinations with the assurance that they would receive them upon entry. We simply held them accountable to their commitments.
Thank you, Dr. Kind.
Just one more thing, Red.
Yeah, hey, hi.
Rosalie of Shadaloo's Ministry of Travel and Tourism.
Yeah, what about him?
Your department's email requesting my appearance for this segment was properly addressed to me. The text in the body of the email was addressed to her. I assume she was unavailable to make this appearance.
Yeah.
And that was Dr. Lazarus Kind with the Shadaloo Health Council. When we return, esports with Samson Escapades. But for now, here's Lost Jungle from Shaq Fu.
Welcome back, comrades. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. That was Lost Jungle from Shaq Fu. I'm Red McCano, Senior Executive Vice Senior President of Shadaloo's Department of Treasury.
And I'm wondering why we do introductions after every break all of a sudden.
I don't know. In case they forget who we are, or they tune in somewhere in the middle of the broadcast.
That's why we sign off at the end, too.
Ah! Bases covered, then.
Bases covered.
See, that's why I'm glad to have you around, Melody. I'm learning something new about radio every day. They should give you a promotion. Just like, not a promotion that mean you'd have to, stop hosting the show, but a promotion. I don't know the radio hierarchy.
Lobby 2025 is just a week and a half away from Shoryu Wave in Shadaloo City, Shadaloo on June 14th. For more, we turn to FGC Radio esports correspondent Samson Escapades. Samson.
Lobby 2025 is the third event of the Destiny is Destiny tournament season. Though Destiny is headlining, Lobby will also play host to brackets of Verdict Guilty, Rumble Roses XX, and Mega Knockdown. Today, I'm joined by the number one ranked DID player of the 2025 tournament season, MAXAdam, for additional insight into the lobby bracket.
Hey, thanks for having me back on, Samson. And yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on these brackets.
A lot of heavy hitters in this one. Gemins, 80FGC, Ultra Violins, Give 'em the Zip, Shadaloo Woo. Who are you looking at?
Actually, I'm looking a lot earlier in the bracket at my first opponent.
Either Mal Scandalous or Family Bunny.
Bunny actually knocked me out of my very first Destiny's Destiny tournament. Domain 2024.
How are you liking your chances now?
Better. They main Sable Nyx. I got a lot more practice against that character this year. Still, I don't want to discount the possibility that she might utterly rock me again. That'd suck. But if I can get through her, though, I see a pretty straight shot to the semifinals.
Either John Handgun or Beckby Loser in round 3.
I've beat both of them before.
Probably DXKramer or Disinfectant Man in top 8.
Ooh, that's kind of a wild card match. I'm not too worried, but I also haven't run into either of them in the bracket before. So we'll see what happens.
Then for semifinals, you're probably looking at Give 'em the Zip or Shadaloo Woo.
Both zoners. I beat them both before. I feel pretty good that I can do it again.
Then that leaves finals. Who do you think will make it there?
Lobby is one of the most straightforward brackets of the season. Honestly, Edo, Goose, or Ultraviolence.
Got a preference?
Ooh, I know a lot of people want to see that tiebreaker between Edo and I. But I kinda want to run the set on Goose for calling me MAXAdam. So it's Goose.
Anything else you'd like to say before we go, MAXAdam?
2 things, actually. First, if you want to see me cook Goose, give me an oh hell yeah! Next, Red, Melanie, why are you two dodging me? When are you coming out to locals?
If the station's paying, I'm in.
Good luck, MAXAdam, and good luck to everyone else competing in any of the 4 event brackets at Lobby 2025. It's June 14th at Shoryu Wave. I'm Samson Escapades,
And I'm
Shadaloo City,
MAXAdam.
Shadaloo. Back to you, Melody and Red.
Do you have any questions, requests, or dedications you'd like to send us? Because if you do, the best way you can do that is by reaching out to us on social media at HMI Bison Dollars with the hashtag BisonDollarsQRD.
Or you could call the station directly like our next caller. You're on FGC Radio. What's your name? Where are you from?
What's up? Long-time caller, first-time listener. Dougie J, Shadaloo City.
Well, we do appreciate you listening, Dougie J.
Can you play Brave Sword, Braver Soul?
We certainly can. There's more FGC Radio to come. For now, though, here's Brave Sword, Braver Soul. Welcome back, listeners. You're listening to How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. That was Brave Sword, Braver Soul from Soul Calibur 2. And we're not going to introduce ourselves, but we will introduce our guests. We have Pastor Rick Swindoll of the 6th Baptist Church of Heavenly Ascension in the studio. Pastor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Melody.
What happened to the other 5 churches?
And joining us from our sister station in the Netherrealm, Birire, proprietor of the Necros Judo Dojo. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Of course. I'm thankful you asked me to join this panel.
Pastor, you've been entrenched in controversy since you started, and I just want to make sure I'm quoting you correctly. Martial arts is a satanic practice that opens one's soul to demonic influence. To practice martial arts is to let demons come inside you.
I maintain that there is no controversy. All my naysayers just don't like to hear the truth when it's presented to them.
That the demons come inside them?
Fred.
Martial arts perpetuate the cultivation of ki energy. That ki is a rejection of God's grace. What it represents is the acceptance of demonic influence, and it manifests violently.
If I could just interject a moment, Pastor. I wanted to mention that not all martial arts focus on the cultivation of ki energy, as you put it. Judo, for instance, does not inherently use ki energy.
Oh, of course it doesn't. And Nick, you'll tell me those little dances, the katas, aren't tracing demonic summoning circles in the ground with your feet.
That's more of a karate thing than a judo thing. We mostly just throw each other to the ground. Do we throw them to the ground in summoning circle patterns too?
Well, you just have an answer for everything, don't you, Birire? You probably think you even had me in a gotcha moment when you called into the show. Something about how Satan doesn't actually rule hell anymore. What's his name does now?
Shinnok?
Shinnok. Just because there might have been some kind of regime change doesn't mean Satan's influence doesn't still linger in the depths of hell. It isn't another demonic entity that defeats Satan, it's God. Only through God's grace can we defeat the evils of hell in whatever form they may take.
Oh my God! You're a Shinnok denialist too, aren't you? You can't accept that your fate's primary antagonist was murked by someone else. Just update your book.
Sorry, I just wanted to, Pastor, Mortal Kombat. It's a martial arts tournament of divine origin, sanctioned by the Elder Gods.
The Elder Gods, as you call them, are not God. There's no Mortal Kombat in the Bible. You can't judo chop the bad guys away. Only through God can we defeat the legions in hell and their agents here on
We're
Earth.
getting a little off topic, Birire. What is the relationship between demons and martial arts in the Netherrealm?
Almost non-existent, especially among the native Oni population. The wraiths and the undead might bring combat experience from their mortal lives, but it's rarely a one-to-one transfer, especially with the undead. They're fragile. I take exception to the pastor's accusations because he's attributing my people to something that is barely a part of our daily lives. Culturally, my race favors brute strength and unwavering endurance over technique. It's been that way since the beginning of time, long before Pastor Rick's faith began to take shape. I understand Netherrealm denizens are a convenient scapegoat, but I believe the pastor should at least have the decency to persecute the right people. Most of the martial arts he attributes to devilry have Earthrealm origins. Taoism, Buddhism, Eastern
You
mysticism.
can call them by whatever name you want.
I know, to you it's all the same satanic nonsense, and you don't recognize any difference, but you'd be wrong.
Thank you both. This has been an enlightening discussion, and I'm sure our listeners are gaining a lot from hearing you both on this. We just want to conclude with a little rapid-fire reaction to the names of several prominent martial artists. Red and I are going to read them off. Red?
Yeah, Ragna the Blood Edge.
Demonic.
Not demonic, just some guy.
Eddie Gordo.
Demonic.
I've heard he's demonic to fight against, but no, he's also just some guy.
Akuma.
Look at him. demon.
No. I'm sure Akuma wants people to think he's a demon, but no, he's not actually a demon.
Neo Tango.
She's actually a literal demon, yeah. Don't see a lot of Tengu in the Netherrealm, though. They mostly keep to themselves.
Well, if that'll be all.
Again, thank you for joining us, Pastor Swindoll, Birire. Stick around, listeners. There's still a little more How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio to come. Here's Blue Edge from World Heroes 2 Jet.
Welcome back, comrades. That was Blue Edge from World Heroes 2 Jet. Hey Mel, do we still call it geopolitics, even though it's about the politics of a different realm?
That's what I've been doing.
Well, comrades, you're just in time for us to say goodbye,
Farewell.
and other gestures that imply similar sentiments. Stick around, though, because coming up next, Melody is going to do a live reading of Kazuya Mishima's latest autobiography,
Live
Turned
reading.
Out Fine.
I'm not doing a live.
How my father
I'm not doing a
throwing me
live
off a
reading.
cliff
I'm not
was the
reading
best thing
I'm
that
not
could have
reading that
happened to
book
me.
writ for How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio. I'm Melody Sinclair.
And I'm Red McCano, Senior Executive Vice Senior President of Shadaloo's Department of Treasury. Gloria ad Pax Bisonica, and enjoy your day. How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio is a How Much in Bison Dollars production brought to you by FGC Radio. You can follow FGC Radio on Blue Sky at FGC Radio. How Much in Bison Dollars on FGC Radio features music by Terrible Broseph. You can follow Broseph on both Twitter and TikTok at Terrible Broseph. The role of Red McCano is played by me, How Much in Bison Dollars. You can find me on most social media sites at HMI Bison Dollars or highlight Blade on the character select screen, press down 20 times, and then press all 3 kicks. Melody Sinclair was portrayed by Solstice Hannan. Solstice can be found on most relevant and some irrelevant social media sites at Darker Solstice. Dr. Lazarus Kind was portrayed by DXKramer. They can be found on TikTok and Instagram at DXKramer. Samson Escapades was portrayed by Professor Tom of the Shujin Academy VGM Club podcast. You can follow the professor on Blue Sky at Shujin Academy and on Instagram at Shujin Academy VGM Club. You can listen to the Shujin Academy VGM Club podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. MAXAdam was portrayed by Captain Supreme. You can follow Adam on Blue Sky at Captain Supreme. Dougie J was portrayed by Faust. Faust can be found on Instagram and Twitter at SadBoyFaust. Pastor Rick Swindoll was portrayed by Frumious. You can follow Frumious at Frumious Gaming on both Blue Sky and YouTube. Birire was portrayed by Adam Bibilo of the Attitude Era podcast. Follow him on Blue Sky, watch him on Twitch, or listen to his podcasts, all of which can be found at allmylinks.com/biblops. Special thanks to FGC Radio for broadcasting this show, and thank you, comrades, for listening to it. How Much in Bison Dollars airs the first and third Tuesday of every month. Reruns of broadcasts can now be found on platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and wherever else you might enjoy listening to podcasts. This week's divination by Groppler Morn is 100444. Oh my god, that's really bad. Thank you, and take care.